I have gastroparesis. That translated means paralysis of the stomach. Doesn't sound so good, does it? Now, a normal stomach finishes emptying by about 4 hours. And at that point, you should have less than 10% of the food you have eaten left in your stomach. Now, for me, as of the last test I had to check on it, I had 82% of my food left in my stomach. Not so great. And I have tried to explain for years and years and years, over and over and over and over again, often to the same people, what that means. Now, there is some research on it, but it's just not as well known as other GI issues or many other issues. And it's really difficult to find help for it. There are some medications, they don't necessarily work that well. There are a few things that they try to do now surgically, still not as well known. So how I explained it when I said that I traumatized my nephew last weekend. Unfortunately, I've had a really bad flare-up since about August now. And a few times he has been here when I have been vomiting. And, he tries to tell me he's going to make it better and that he's Dr. Bleiweiss and he's going to make it all better. And I said, well, hopefully one day, kiddo, maybe you'll find something that'll help me. This past weekend, he was here. It was just the two of us because my mom and brother and sister-in-law had gone out to brunch. And he felt really bad because I had to leave the door open so that I could see what he was doing. And he came over even though I said, don't come close. And I think he really traumatized him with that. And I went to share an Airhead with him. And as soon as I went to take a bite, he went, no, stop. You have to be careful. And this was because a few minutes prior, I always say to him that, no, I'm not sick. I really am okay. But, he's 6 and he doesn't really understand that. And I explained to him that when people eat food, when you eat food, it goes down and it goes into your belly. And your body takes out of it what it needs, the vitamins and the fat and the protein. And that whatever doesn't get absorbed into your body that's needed, it goes all the way down. And then when you poop, the rest of it comes out. And so I said, and a lot of times for me, it just doesn't come out that way. It doesn't work so well. And so my food a lot of the time sits in my stomach for a really long time. And it makes me feel sick. And if it's not going down, it has to come up so that I can start to feel better. And so we were painting. I had gotten him something for Valentine's Day and he was painting it. And we were sitting at the table and I had taken out the piece of candy and I split it and I gave it to him and I went to take a bite. And he was very upset and told me I couldn't eat it and that I would get sick and it was going to stay in my stomach and I was going to throw up. And I thought, wow, this kid at 6.5 understands it better than anybody else that I have ever tried to talk to about it. He gets it. And I thought, maybe if I said it that way to everybody else, maybe they would just finally get it. It really, yes, it's more complicated than that, but at the end of the day, that's how simple it is. Yes, there are nerves involved, and there is pain involved, and there's constipation involved, and there's daily vomiting involved. There's all of that. But at the end of the day, my stomach just doesn't let the food empty. The food doesn't go down, and if it doesn't go down for long enough, it comes back up. And that means that it can be 18 hours later, and I can be vomiting up the food that I ate 18 hours prior, and I can still be picking out what I ate. I can be like, oh, look, there's that spinach leaf, or oh, there's that grain of rice. And I know it sounds disgusting, but I'm just trying to be honest with you. And it can mean that I maybe can't go to the bathroom for 6 days. And then when I go, like last week, I was really sick, and I was moaning and groaning, and I was crying. I was in such pain. And my mom heard me, and there was nothing she could do about it. What can she do? She can't go to the bathroom for me. For 2 hours, I cried. I was nauseous. I was so sick. And there are times that I'm vomiting and trying to go to the bathroom at the same time. It is not pretty. And I, at this point, have seen, besides my GI that I have been with for 22 years now, and I've had my diagnosis for 21, and I probably had it before that. I have idiopathic gastroparesis. A lot of times you will find gastroparesis with people who have diabetes, or sometimes gastroparesis can be caused by like opioids, pain medication, but I had mine before any of that. I don't have diabetes, and I do take pain medication, but I had my diagnosis before that. And so I've had him for 22 years, and he's wonderful. He's a wonderful doctor. Anytime I say anything, he's on it. He'll do a test, or he'll do anything for me. But at this point, I've already seen 3 other specialists over the years who have done tests and tortured me. And I recently saw from the one specialist, he sent me to a surgeon, and that surgeon was a dumbass, and he was rude, and I had no intention of ever going back to him. And then when I went to see my regular GI, the one I trust, he was just so frustrated, and he just said, you know, we have to find something. We have to find something. This isn't okay, and I just don't know what to do anymore. And that is when I reached out to my lovely friend Alana. Shout out to her. And so in a couple of weeks, I'm going down to Johns Hopkins, the Bayview Center, and seeing a specialist down there who has done consortiums, and he has done work with NIH and all of that stuff, and to see if I can get any help there, because there really just isn't anything. And I'd really like to stop scaring my 6.5-year-old nephew. I really do hope that you watched this entire video and that you have a clearer understanding of what happens. And no, not everything is in this video, but I tried to make it as clear as possible. And thanks for your time. Bye.